Hey guys, John Jr. here. I'm bringing you guys another APA video. Super excited to be bringing you guys week 8 of the APA, which is going to be our last week to use this team here, which is a little bit sad. I've got kind of attached to this team. I've started to love using Mega Diancie. Obviously, Zapdos, one of my favorite Pokemon. Swampert and Tangrowth are just such a great defensive core, and I love it so much. But everything's got to come to an end, and there will be a new draft analysis coming out tomorrow, so be sure to check that out if you want to. I would love it if you did. And make sure to show your support on this video. You guys have been absolutely killing it, and I will never be able to show all of my gratitude to you guys. But with all that being said, this week we are moving into week 8, going 3 and 4, and we really need this dub, man. We really need this dub to keep ourselves afloat in this playoff race. If we lose, by no means are we out. We still have some sort of chance, but I would much rather be 4 and 4 than 3 and 5. Moving into the match here this week, we are facing Panther and his Carolina Clefables, but Panther is an extremely busy guy, and he has a lot of stuff to do this week, so Panther will not be able to play us, unfortunately. However, he told me that we would be playing one of his assistant coaches, whether that be Silver Smasher, whether that be Jacob as always, or whether that be OG Albina, and I am really good friends with all three of these people, so I would love to have them on the channel and just face them in an APA battle. It would be amazing. We are battling OG Albina. His name is Owen, and he is a great battler, phenomenal battler, and he makes some really good content. He's in the NCP with us. Actually, all three of his assistant coaches were in the NCP. You should have been in the NCP, Panther. But that being said, please go check out Ogle's channel. It is not on screen. That is Panther's channel, but Ogle's channel will 100% be in the description below. I would love it if you guys would go show him some support. He really deserves it. He's a really great battler. But moving into the matchup, I don't know if Ogle built the team or if Panther. I would think Ogle did, because I've talked to Panther a little bit about it, and he said he wasn't 100% aware of all of the sets that were being brought, so I would assume that OG Albina or Owen did build this team. Moving into the team that Panther did draft, though, we do see Celesteela, Sylveon, Krookodile, Goodra, Miltank, Rotom-Mow, Keldeo, Talonflame, Lycanroc, Dusk, Weezing, and Mega Alakazam. And before I get comments about it, yes, I do know it's pronounced Crocodile. Krookodile just sounds so much cooler. With that being said, as far as the mods I think that Owen could bring against us here, Celesteela I think is a definite bring. Celesteela is just such a good mod in almost any matchup. I expect maybe Z Stone Edge or maybe some sort of Leech Seed Toxic Protect variant. As stally as it would be, and I know Owen doesn't like to play very stally, I could definitely see him bringing that type of Celesteela. I think that Mega Alakazam on the surface has a really good matchup, but we do have a dark type Drapion to trap it completely and completely shut it down, so I don't know if he would really want to do that. I could definitely see him doing it because he is able to run Modest this week, but I don't know I can't 100% say that he is going to bring it, but if he does, I would say that it's likely Energy Ball, Psychic, Calm Mind, and Sub maybe, or something along those lines. There was another move that I thought he really needed, but I can't remember off the top of my head. No, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But basically, this Alakazam could cause us a lot of problems, especially if we did not bring Drapion and outsped all of our mons and just completely obliterated us. The next mon that I think he is definitely going to bring, Lycanroc Dusk, poses so much of a threat to us. We do have two really good walls for it in Tangrowth and Swampert, and those might dissuade him from bringing it. However, I think that maybe a Stone Edge, a Celerock, Toxic Stealth Rock set is very good this matchup. If he's even scared of like Cobalion, maybe Stone Edge Drill Run, Stealth Rock Toxic, or maybe like Stone Edge Fire Fang to hit the Pharaoh Seed as well if we decide to bring that, just so he doesn't get wall bite if we do bring it. I could definitely see that, but I really think that Lycanroc has to come to beat the Zapdos here. The next mon, there is no way this man does not bring Sylveon. Our steel types are Cobalion, which is neutral to steel, or to Fairy, excuse me, and then our other steel type is Pharaoh Seed. If he does not bring Sylveon, I will actually be upset at him because it has such a good matchup, and as a Sylveon user myself, I know how good it is when their steel type does not resist Fairy. It's like, it's insane. I don't think I have one Pokemon on my team that resists Fairy because my poison type is Drapion. So if Sylveon's not brought, I would actually be completely thrown off guard. Talonflame is the next Pokemon that I really think has a good matchup, other than the hard walls in Swampert and Zapdos, if you can even call it that. Talonflame is absolutely amazing. Actually, a +2 Brave Bird Oko Swampert, even if we're full defense, which is crazy, and a +2 Flare Blitz Oko Zapdos, and that's absolutely crazy. And the only thing that I could see making him not want to bring this Pokemon is whether or not to run Fire Z or whether or not to run Flying Z, because he has to kind of make a choice there on whether he wants to Oko the Zapdos or Oko the Swampert. He can't do both, and granted, both of them will probably Oko him back, or at least do enough damage to where he's no longer a threat and can die to some sort of priority moves. And the last mon that I really see is likely here, as I think Krookodile has an absolutely phenomenal matchup. I think Intimidate is so useful difficult against me, and I think that this could be another one of his rockers. I think that it could definitely be another one of his rockers. I think that Earthquake plus Knockoff is just such good stab. I don't know why you wouldn't bring it. The only thing to me that would dissuade him from bringing Krookodile is my Cobalion, because Earthquake never OHKOs us unless he's a +1, which is either from Moxie, from some sort of SD, if he'd be a +2 at that point, or from being banded. So without that, he can't OHKO Cobalion, even if we're no defense, I do believe. So he's kind of got to be really, really cautious about that. Or maybe he'll bring some sort of Choco Berry variant if he does bring it. That being said, I could also definitely see Weezing coming. Weezing does not have a bad matchup against us by any means. He could definitely be a good wall, but our physical mons are super strong, and Latias kind of shuts that down, so I'm not 100% keen on Weezing coming. I think that Keldeo does not have a good matchup at all. I think that Tangrowth, if we're AV, hardwalls it. I think that Zapdos kind of beats it one-on-one. I think that even like Swampert can beat it one-on-one. He really has a hard choice, right? Like, he either wants to be Scarf to outspeed the Diancie, or he wants to be Specs to be able to OHKO our mons, and he can't do both, so I think that's really going to dissuade him from bringing it. I've used the word dissuade a lot. I like that word now. I think that Miltank has an okay matchup. If he is overly scared of Tangrowth, I think he could definitely bring Miltank. He's got another rocker option in that, so maybe he brings like 3 attack Toxic Lycanroc Dusk with rocks on either Miltank or Krookodile. I could definitely see that, and I could definitely see him maybe bringing some sort of offensive Miltank with like Double Edge, Milk Drink, Stealth Rock, Toxic. Like, even a set like that could definitely put in some work against us. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really see Goodra coming. Diancie does way too much to it, and he'd have to rely on Iron Tail to hit in order to do a lot of damage to us. And as a Goodra user myself, phenomenal Pokemon, but against a Mega Diancie, it doesn't really have the greatest matchup, especially when I could run Diamond Storm and be physical and just completely cuck his EVs over. And then the last mon, Rotom Mow. I don't really think Rotom Mow has a good matchup at all. Like, a lot of our Pokemon beat it. The only reason I would see him bringing Rotom Mow is if he doesn't think that he has enough Pokemon for Swampert, and he thinks he needs some more support there to take care of our Swampert. In which case, I could definitely see that. Like, a Will-O-Wisp is okay against us, so I could see like a Willow, Leaf Storm, Volt Switch kind of set. But he kind of has dual status issues. He wants both Willow and Toxic. He wants Toxic to Toxic our Tangrowth. He wants Willow to hit our Cobalion. So he's kind of in a tough spot there if he does decide to bring it. Okay, so the first mon that we do have here is going to be Tempest. It's going to be Zapdos, and it is ginned weird to where it's named T-M-P-E-S-T. Anyway, not important. Zapdos has a pretty good matchup overall. Zapdos really has to come in some form. I think it has a phenomenal matchup. We have Toxic Thunderbolt, U-Turn Roost, Toxic to be able to Toxic his Pokemon that we cannot otherwise touch, which would be things like Sylveon, something like maybe even Alakazam if it comes down to it, because obviously he's not going to stay in with Celesteela on Thunderbolt, so we can just Toxic whatever comes in there, and that's a really, really good play on our part, I think. Thunderbolt hits most things, U-Turn is super effective, and Krookodile gives us momentum, and momentum's really good in this game. It also hits the Alakazam for some decent damage, and then Roost for some longevity. The speed just in general for anything that might be trying to speed creep our Zapdos. We can live 1+2 Flare Blitz, Z from the Talonflame, and then Toxic is mainly for the Sylveon as well as the Miltank, and then lastly we do have the rest in special attack there. That was remaining 52 in special attack. Pretty standard stuff. We are static for his physical attackers, and I really do like this set. Next up here we've got our girl Tangjelly, rocking Power Whip, Shockwave, Sludge Bomb, Rock Tomb, rocking that AV. Tang is going to be our answer to not only the Keldeo but also the Lycanroc, and to an extent the Krookodile. Power Whip actually is really, really good in this game. Power Whip hits the Krookodile super effective. It does a ton of damage to the Mega Alakazam. It actually does more than Knockoff would do to us. It hits like basically everything. The Keldeo, the Lycanroc. The only things that it doesn't hit is like Sapsipper, Goodra, and Miltank, which is definitely a threat. And it also doesn't hit the Talonflame, which we do have Rock Tomb for if we want to call a switch into that. Rock Tomb is here for speed control. Our Diancie can outspeed the Mega Alakazam after one speed drop. And then we have Sludge Bomb for the Sylveon, which is just there for a filler move because we don't do as much damage to Sylveon with Sludge Bomb as we do Power Whip. And then Shockwave is going to be there for the Celesteelas who call a switch. We can shoot 2 hits from the Mega Alakazam, 2 Psychics from the Mega Alakazam if modest. And I think that's after Rock. It's not after Rocks. Cut that out. We can guarantee break a 252 Selly sub with 28 special attack, and then we dump the rest into defense, and we got a nice bulky Tangrowth here. Next up here we do have Cobalt the Cobalion, and Cobalion has been coming almost every week and has put in a lot of work, and I really love this Pokemon. We're rocking dual stab, dual dance, so nice and simple this week. We can outspeed his Crocodile if he is max speed Jolly, which I don't think that he would be. Owen's a good player, but I also know that he knows that I speed creep, so maybe he would try to speed creep my speed creep with his Crocodile. I don't want to mess with that, so we're just going enough speed to outspeed the max speed Crook. We can take 2 Fire Fangs from the Life Orb Lycanroc Dusk if he is Jolly, which he has to be in order to outspeed us, and then we do have enough Spadef to take either 2 Hyper Voices from Zero Investment Sylveon or 1 Hyper Voice from a max modest spec Sylveon, which is really cool how that calc worked out. But we are rock with Rock Polish to be able to outspeed that Mega Alakazam if we needed. Swords Dance can kind of help us break a lot of things since we outspeed most of his team, minus the Mega Alakazam and the Talonflame, as well as the Lycanroc Dusk, and I guess Keldeo, but Lycanroc Dusk and Keldeo don't really matter if we outspeed too much, because we have to check for the Keldeo, and Lycanroc, this is one of our checks. So Dual Stab just hits basically every Pokemon, we just have to know when to click what. The only thing that really scares me is going to be that Weezing, but other than that, Z fighting is pretty free. We can do a lot of damage to Selly, we can dent a lot of Pokemon, and I just think that this is a phenomenal bring this week. Our next mon here is going to be Seedad, the Drapion, Rock and Pursuit, Poison Jab, Rock Tomb, Thunderfang, AV, and we have enough attack to guarantee Oko the Alakazam with the number of HP investment that I thought he would have if he is switching out, or 2-hit KO if he's not, and we can live 2 of anything from Mega Alakazam, and we can live 1 Psychic Miracle Eye if he is going with that route. So really cool set, really cool how the EVs worked out in that sense. And I think the HP investment that I thought he would be was 188. Let me double check on that. Yeah, I thought he would be 188 HP Mega Alakazam. That gave him enough speed to outspeed all of our Pokemon, gave him max modest to hit as hard as he could, and then I thought he'd put the rest in HP, so I thought it made a lot of sense to do that. Poison Jab there for the Sylveon, Rock Tomb for speed control. Speed control is pretty nice in this game, and then Thunderfang there for the Selly as well as the Keldeo. So pretty cool set here, pretty one-dimensional just here for the Alakazam, and that's it, but it is going to do what it needs to do. Next up, we are bringing Hank Dank Tank, our Swampert, Scald Roar, Toxic Protect. Pretty standard and straightforward set. Swampert can be another answer to the Lycanroc Dusk. I was very, very scared of this Pokemon, and we can live a +2 Life Orb Brave Bird from the Talonflame. We cannot live a +2 Z Brave Bird, and that was really, really scary. Scald does great overall just against his team. He has very, very few resists. His resists are Goodra and Rotom Mow, both of which don't appreciate a Toxic, so that's why we have Toxic on this set. And then Protect for not only leftovers recovery, but also gradual Toxic damage. We can 3-hit KO the Weezing if no Black Sludge, or if we get a burn, which is really, really cool. And then we dump the rest into Spadef, so pretty standard stuff there. And lastly, we're bringing the Mon that I really wanted to use at the beginning of these 4 weeks, and I've absolutely loved. We're bringing Mega Diancie, Diamond Storm, Moonblast, Stealth Rock, Calm Mind. We are rocking with enough speed to outspeed. I think we had to go max speed in order to outspeed the Keldeo, or I might have been wrong, and that might have actually been a mistake that we were max speed. Complete mistake if so, but we can live 1 Steel Wing from the Talonflame and have a 97% chance to 2-hit KO, full Spadef, no AV, Goodra with Moonblast. We can put the rest into attack. We can go Rocks, so we don't have to bring Pert Set down and bring Rocks on Pert Set. And then we can go Calm Mind or Psychic to hit the Weezing in the last slot. I decided to go Calm Mind. And my good buddy Jacob, you guys know Jacob, actually gave me a suggestion after I played the match for the last 2 move slots. I thought Diamond Storm and Moonblast were needed, and he agreed with me, but he said I could have went sub Endeavor for my last 2 moves, and that would have been absolutely phenomenal. That would have been amazing. It would have gave us a way to break break Celesteela, excuse me, and I wish we would have done that, but we didn't know about it. So that's going to be the team that we are rocking with for this game, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this team down below, and make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, but we're going to go ahead and hop into this match against Owen. Going into this matchup, you can see Owen brought basically what we expected of the 6 mons, but instead of Talonflame, he brought Miltank, which is absolutely fine. Miltank was not completely out there. Miltank was kind of okay to bring, but he brought Rotom Mow over Lycanroc Dusk, and no Lycanroc Dusk really surprised me, really threw me for a loop. But it was also, like, it threw me for a loop in a good way. I was really scared of Lycanroc Dusk. I realized why we went max speed on Mega Diancie now. It was for Lycanroc Dusk. Anyway, no Lycanroc Dusk absolutely shocked me. I completely expected Lycanroc Dusk. But it's better for us because we don't have as much pressure on our Zapdos now. He has a really, really hard time breaking our Zapdos here. And you look at his team. His Cobalion resist is Mega Alakazam, so looking at the team, I bounced back and forth for a long time whether to lead Cobalion or whether to lead Swampert. I ended up deciding to lead Cobalion because even if he led Mega Alakazam, we had a dedicated switch into Drapion at that point. We could just trap it, and he might 2-hit KO us, but we could get 2 pursuits off, or we get a pursuit and do 50%, and then get another mon in and be fine on that front. So I was just really fine with this matchup overall. I thought that leading Cobalion would be good on his potential Krookodile leads, his potential Miltank lead, and if he really wanted to, just to counter my Cobalion lead, then his potential Mega Alakazam lead. But we're going to go ahead and hop in here, and we are going to lead Cobalion like I said, as we are going to see that we are challenging Owen in his generic player character. But again, check him out down below if you have not already. I would appreciate it. But we are going to lead Cobalt, our Cobalion here, as he is going to go ahead and lead his Sylveon. No nicknames, he automatically loses. You guys already know how it is. You gotta have nicknames. But I'm gonna go ahead, and I want to go ahead and say, you guys can see that I used Iron Head here. I debated back and forth for a long time whether to click Swords Dance, whether to click Close Combat, or whether to click Iron Head. I initially went ahead and crossed out Close Combat. I was debating between Swords Dance and Iron Head for a good minute. I ultimately decided to click Iron Head because I almost clicked Swords Dance, but or maybe I almost clicked Close Combat. Looking back, I would have either been debating between Iron Head or Swords Dance. Anyway, I went to click Swords Dance or Close Combat or whatever I was going to click, and I heard Jacob's voice in the back of my head go, "Don't overplay," because I lost my recent APA Showdown game because I overplayed. I lost in the playoffs because I overplayed. So I was like, okay, we're not losing to overplay anymore. Jacob has warned me about that. That's one of the big flaws in my game. I'll say that too. That is probably the biggest flaw in my game, if any flaw. I'm just kidding. But I decided to go ahead and click Iron Head here because I didn't want to overplay and I wanted to play it safe in the beginning, like Jacob told me that I should. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it safe. Click Iron Head on his staying in, and we are actually gonna do 80%. I expected to do 50. I'm gonna flinch. And does this flinch matter? 100% this flinch matters. This is very unfortunate because you can see that we did about 80% there to that Sylveon. And that tells me that he is absolutely zero bulk, or very minimal bulk, and we got a high roll. But basically what this means is he was Specs. So as I told you guys in the team builder, we could actually live one Specs modest Hyper Voice, and that's exactly what he was. So no matter what, we did live that unless he got a crit, which is possible. Of course it's possible. But we would have been at a low amount of health, and then this game would have played completely differently, as you guys will be able to see here. But based on the health that he was at here, I decided Close Combat was definitely the best play here. Close Combat actually kills the Sylveon from this range, which really surprised me, and it also covers every Pokemon that switches in that's not named Alakazam. But even if Alakazam switches in, I don't think he'd switch it in on Iron Head. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I expected the Rotom Mow or maybe even the Celesteela here, so I went ahead and clicked Close Combat, guaranteeing at least like a huge amount of damage on something. And I kind of really wanted to click Swords Dance, and if we did, we would have two-hit KO'd this Rotom. But I went for Close Combat here, and it was a roll to KO after Close Combat, and I didn't want to risk that roll. I didn't want to risk him having Will-O-Wisp. So Cobalion at full health, we are going to go ahead and switch out here, and I believe we're going to go ahead and go into Tempest here, because if he wants to Will-O-Wisp us, that's absolutely fine. If he wants to Volt Switch, phenomenal. He is just going to go for the Volt Switch, revealing that he probably has Toxic over Will-O-Wisp, excuse me, as he does a hefty chunk to my Zapdos. I cannot speak. A hefty chunk to my Zapdos, revealing that he is a little bit of investment. But he goes right back into Sylveon, and I was really confused by this because we outsped and OHKO'd this Sylveon always. So we're going to go ahead and click that T-Ball, and that Sylveon's going to drop. So based on the rolls from earlier, that was not a roll at all, and we always picked up that KO on Sylveon, and I was really confused as to why that was his answer to my Zapdos right there. But now he's going to go into Krookodile, and this was absolutely fine. I had a tough play to make. He reveals Intimidate, so we know he's not Moxie, so he's probably not Scarf, but here I had a tough play to make. I clicked Toxic, expecting him to stay in and want to click Rocks or something like that. But if I did that, I would risk either the knockoff or the Stone Edge, and I didn't really want to do that. We could risk the potential static, which would be phenomenal, but I think it was in my best interest to go hard Cobalion, because there is zero way he clicks Earthquake here, right? He either clicks Stealth Rock, or he clicks knockoff, or he clicks what did I just say? Stone Edge? He clicks one of those three moves. There's no possible way he clicks Earthquake. It makes no sense. A generic Krookodile should outspeed me, and we're not clicking Roost here, obviously, so even if he is slow Krookodile, Earthquake doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because he might be expecting a Toxic, or maybe he does expect the U-turn, who knows. But expecting the knockoff, I decided going hard Cobalion here is 100% our best play. We can potentially get the Justified boost, and if we have that, we always OHKO this Krookodile, regardless of his investment, as long as he is not, of course, the Chople Berry. And I get the Justified boost, obviously we get that play right, does not knock off our Z move, and here I had another tough play to make. I could have clicked Z Fightinium and we could have guaranteed a KO, or I could click Rock Polish, and we could play a little bit risky. He never KO'd us with EQ, which was really, really cool. Never OHKO'd us with EQ based on the damage from that knockoff. He was not very offensive, if at all. So Earthquake never KO'd us. Never in a million years did Earthquake KO us, unless he was Z. And if he was Z, I would have said great prep, phenomenal prep. But assuming he wasn't Z, we had two plays here. We can click Z Fightinium, or we can click Rock Polish. And if we click Rock Polish on his potential Alakazam switch in, that's phenomenal. We might be able to just win the game here. So as he switches out here, as he stays in here, we click Rock Polish, and that really scares me. This scares me because he's one of two things. He's either Chopo or he is Earthquake Z. He reveals that he is not Earthquake Z. He's gonna go ahead and go for an Earthquake. Maybe he's Life Orb. He is not Life Orb, as we do hang on with 32 there. I think he got a high roll too. I think he was like 116 offense investment, and that was a high roll maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but he does go into the Rotom here, and we click Close Combat, and we basically guarantee KO on something. We are going to pick up the KO on the Rotom here, which is phenomenal. This Pokemon was his main way to break Swampert, and without this, he cannot break the Swampert. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, he couldn't have ever been Life Orb Crook. He could have only been Choice Band because he already clicked Knockoff. Anyway, he goes right back into Crook to get that Intimidate drop, and actually, depending on his investment, and depending on if he was Chopped or not, we could not KO him from this range with a normal Close Combat. So I thought, no matter what the play here, in my opinion, was to always click Z. If he went to Alakazam, fine, we got 70% on it, and then that makes Drapion's job a lot easier. So right here, I decided popping the Z was going to be the best move, whether he switch out, try to get Intimidate later, or whether he stay in, and you can see that he does decide to stay in, as we're busting out that Z all fighting, pummeling, all out pummeling, whatever it's called. We're busting it out again, and Cobalion is gonna get angry here, and he's gonna bust out the Fightinium Z. Z Close Combat this week, not Z Focus Blast like it was last week against Kurt, and you can see that he is not gonna be Chople, and we are going to absolutely blow this Pokemon back, smash it into a giant rock for some reason. I love that animation, and the Crocodile is going to go down here. So Cobalion is looking in a prime position here to potentially win this game. As he goes Alakazam, and I could have risked the Iron Head flinch, but I thought Cobalion had some use left, and we did have a dedicated check to this Pokemon in Drapion. So I thought going Drapion was going to be in our best interest here, as he is going to just go ahead and stay in and Mega Evolve. Like I said, I could have went for the Iron Head there, and looking back, I probably should have went for the Iron Head. We were only on 32 HP, but I didn't see the greatest way to break Zathos outside of, break Celesteela outside of Zathos. I really wanted Cobalion there to click Close Combat just in case it came down to it, as well as the Miltank. Miltank was going to be really, really annoying, but he is going to click HP Ground there. And that kind of threw me off, but I really expected Focus Blast over that, so it did less damage than Focus Blast would have. He's just going to click Hidden Power again, as I am going to go ahead and click Pursuit. I don't have Sucker Punch on this set. I debated whether or not to click Rock Tomb for a good minute, actually, but I wanted to make sure that if he did decide to switch out, that we did KO. And we can see that it is going to be a 2-hit KO there, but he is going to go for Hidden Power this time, and he is going to knock our Drapion out. I did not have Sucker Punch, unfortunately. I would have loved to have Sucker Punch, and he actually took a good minute on that turn, so he was thinking whether or not I would Sucker Punch, but I did not even have it. But we're going to go ahead and go into Hank Dank Tank the Tangrowth, and Mid thinks he's a real funny guy because everybody's been giving him a lot of crap for ginning my Zapdos without HP Ice against A-Drive. Everybody's been giving him a lot of crap for that, so he thought it'd be really funny to start doing one mistake a week, and this week's mistake was naming Tangrowth Hank Dank Tank for whatever reason. So we're gonna go ahead and go into our Tangrowth, who can eat 2 of whatever this Alakazam throws at us. I knew his Miltank could potentially be Sap Sipper, but I really didn't have another play other than Power Whip. Power Whip did the most damage to everything, except Celesteela, and if he went Celesteela, fine. I almost clicked Shockwave, but I really wanted to kill the Alakazam right there if he started Calm Minding up or something. But he is gonna be Sap Sipper there, and at this point in the match, I was so insanely scared of a Seismic Toss, a double-edged set, but we're going to go hard into Swampert here. I figure that he wants to get rocks up if he is a defensive set, so I figure we can just trade rocks here and that's fine, or I can go for maybe a Toxic and get a Toxic off on him, as he is going to reveal Seismic Toss, and that's absolutely fine by me. He does a 1/4 of our health, shocker, as we're going to land a Toxic, and we're going to start whittling this Miltank down turn by turn, which is phenomenal because this is one of the only ways we break Miltank. And now that we actually have the Toxic on Miltank, our Cobalion is not as useful, and we can play a little bit more recklessly with it. Right here, I think I do go for the, I think I go for the Stealth Rock here. I could be wrong. No, we don't have Stealth Rock on Swampert. I go for Scald here to try to get some damage off on the potential Celesteela coming in, on the potential Earthquake, or maybe even the Alakazam. I don't know why the Alakazam would come in, but we do almost no damage, as he does reveal to be specially defensive, and he does reveal Leftovers, so that's fine by me. I could have went for Protect, but I didn't want to risk him switching out into Selly for free, because Selly is definitely a huge threat at this point in the match. Right here I am going to click Protect though, because he seemed pretty adamant about staying in, so I figured getting some extra toxic damage off would be fine. As he is going to go ahead and stay in and go for another Seismic Toss, so that's fine. We get some extra toxic damage off, we get some extra leftovers recovery off here, and at this point I think, okay, he's kind of at a point to where clicking Milk Drink would be the most beneficial thing to him, in my opinion. He's at about 60%, 50 to 60%. I would click Milk Drink here if I were him, just to be as healthy as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and make the hard switch into Cobalion, and if we get this play right, we just going to click Close Combat, and we're basically going to pick up a KO, which is phenomenal. But he is going to go ahead and click Seismic Toss, and unfortunately, our Cobalion is going to go down. So really, this is the reason why I wish that I risked the Iron Head earlier in the game. I think that Iron Head on the Alakazam would have been a better play than just sacking it off to some Miltank Seismic Toss. So he is going to dip below 50%. He's about 40% now, which is awesome. As we are going to go into Diancie, Diancie can come in and click Diamond Storm. I think I clicked Diamond Storm and guarantee a KO on any Pokemon, since we do know that he is especially defensive. He is going to go ahead and stay in and just potentially give us the Miltank. Granted, we land this move, and then after that he does obviously have the free switch into Celesteela on our Mega Diancie, which is, it's okay because we do have some cool stuff planned, but we are going to land the Diamond Storm, and it is going to be able to take out the Miltank. Even if he didn't, like, the worst thing he could do was Milk Drink up, and then he dies to Toxic plus another Diamond Storm, so whatever. So he is going to send out Celesteela here. Shocker, doesn't send out the Alakazam that can't OHKO us ever. That's fine. So he goes into Celesteela here, and obviously I should switch out, right? I switch out into Swampert, and I have a guaranteed check to that, but I was still kind of worried that he had Seed Bomb on this point. I wasn't sure what set he would be. I didn't know if he'd be Leech Seed, Heavy Slam, Protect, Toxic. I didn't know if that was a set he would bring, especially with a Magic Bounce Mega Diancie right there. I didn't know if he'd be Heavy Slam, maybe 3-attack Atomize or something like that. I didn't know if he'd be Sub Heavy Slam. I knew he'd have Heavy Slam, but I didn't know what else he would have. So I wanted to play really cautiously, and I really wanted to play around the Celesteela to see what he would do. I was fine with giving this thing Mega Diancie because we did 50% to it with Diamond Storm if we did decide to click it. So at this point in the match, Mega Diancie doesn't outspeed the Alakazam, and Mega Diancie dies to Celesteela, so we're going to get the most use out of it right now by clicking Diamond Storm. So I was 100% fine with letting Mega Diancie go. We are going to be able to connect the Diamond Storm, which is actually phenomenal here, and I am going to click Diamond Storm, and we are going to see the Celesteela go for a Atomize instead of Heavy Slam. So this kind of changes things. With the Celesteela clicking a Atomize, I want to preserve Diancie now, knowing for a fact he's going to click Heavy Slam here, not to risk dying to another Diamond Storm, because I don't want him to get a potential Beast Boost, because if he gets that Beast Boost, it could be game. As we do go into Hank Dink Tank, our Tangrowth this week, I guess, on the Heavy Slam, and I did want to scout the Fire Blast slash Air Slash, so he does so much damage, man. Could not have given him that attack boost. We're going to go ahead and switch out into Swampert, fearing the potential Fire Blast here or Air Slash. I thought Fire Blast would have made more sense, but I didn't even think about Air Slash in the moment, as he is going to go ahead and reveal the Air Slash to us. And at this point, I had a couple of options. I decided it was in my best interest to Protect, to scout out to see what he did. If he had Seed Bomb, then we could have easily won Zapdos, and Zapdos actually kind of won the game from here. But if he had Z Stone Edge, then Swampert was the correct answer to him. So he's going to go for another Air Slash here, so basically he's going to have to try to flinch us out, which is going to be very, very hard, especially considering we have leftovers plus Protect. So Protect coming in clutch there, but he goes for an Air Slash here. I do believe I end up going for the Roar, because the most I can do is hit him with a Scald boost, or a Torrent boosted Scald, and I don't think that killed him. And I didn't want to risk another Air Slash flinch, because that could have potentially just been game right there, which is very, very unfortunate. So I thought Roar was the safest play overall, and I still stand by that play. So he is going to get obviously sent into Alakazam here. Hank Dink Tank is going to die to whatever this Mon clicks, and at this point in the match, I think Hank is the Mon to sack. We kind of need the other Mons. I don't want to send in Tangrowth on this because it can't take rocks plus 2 hits. I don't want to send in Zapdos on this because if we can get Zapdos in on the Celesteela, then Zapdos can win the game as long as he does not have an Atomize up, and Tangrowth choose whatever this thing wants to do. So he's going to go for Psychic. I decided to go for the Rock Tomb because if he goes into Celesteela, he's at -1, so even if he Atomizes, our Mega Diancie can outspeed him. Or if we Rock Tomb the Mega Alakazam, we outspeed him with Mega Diancie as well, so Mega Diancie can kind of clean up this game, as he is going to click Psychic again and be able to take out our Tangrowth. So basically, hitting that Rock Slide hitting that Rock Tomb kind of sealed the deal. He could have went for Sub there, I guess, but then we would have broke the Sub with Power Whip. He just had to hope for a Power Whip miss at that point, so I kind of think that we had the game on lockdown at that point. maybe, because we could have just, like, we could have used Regenerator, we could have sacked off Zapdos. I think we had the game on lockdown. We are going to go ahead and click Moonblast because I don't want to risk the miss on the Alakazam, and we do outspeed it. He actually just gives us that Pokemon because, would it actually have been smarter to sack off Selly? I actually don't know, because I don't know if he could have ever O-code Zapdos. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and click Diamond Storm here, and we are going to connect, and we saw from the damage earlier, this is going to be able to KO the Celesteela. Mega Diancie, an absolute monster. Tangrowth doing its job this week. The misnamed Tangrowth doing its job. And we are going to go ahead and defeat Owen, Ogle, and move on to, let me give you something to look at. We're going to go ahead and defeat Ogle and Panther and the Carolina Clefables and move on to 4 and 4, which is phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal. We are sitting in a decent spot in this playoff race. I believe we're like 7th, 8th seed or something. Our plus minus is horrible. We got absolutely bodied 2 weeks in a row, but that's okay. We are sitting at 4 and 4, which is phenomenal, but we do have a really tough last 4 weeks. We have In Vivid Color, who's a phenomenal battler and a great person, absolutely great person. Had some good interactions with him. We face Mewtwo fan Nate, who's one of my favorite people in this league. He's super nice dude, super fun to talk to, and he's been like a cool guy to talk to. Like I said, he's been a cool friend. We do face Imby, which I'm looking forward to that one. We had some cool banter, and he actually drafted Mimikyu and Scolipede, which are 2 of my 3 favorite Pokemon, and then he drafted Mega Ampharos. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to go ahead and check that out. I probably revealed a little bit too much there, but it's okay. The draft analysis comes out tomorrow, and I gave him a little bit of banter about how I think Mega Ampharos is the worst Mega, so he's going to try to beat me with it. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be super cool. And then our last matchup is Bin and the Charlotte Charizards. That's actually going to be week 9, so we do play Bin next week, and Bin's a super cool dude as well. So we're facing 4 super chill dudes the last 4 weeks, so it's really cool, but it's also going to be really tough to get at least 2 wins. I would love to get at least 3 wins here, as we are going to fight for a playoff spot for your Portland Nightshades, but I think that's going to do it here for me, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of this match down below. Make sure to check out Ogle as well as Panther down below. Both of their channels are linked. They should be the first thing under the timestamp for when the match actually starts, and both of them are phenomenal people, some absolutely great friends of mine, so it would mean the world to me if you check them out. But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world, and for now, guys, this has been John Jr. signing off.